Hello everyone, this is Mumbo and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. It is episode 80 and today I have got some very exciting news. This is something that I personally am very excited about and also something that you guys should be excited about as well because hopefully it should lead to better content. For those of you who don't know, running a YouTube channel, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Obviously, you guys just see these 20-minute episodes that come out 3 times a week and then the Redstone videos that come out 3 times a week and that's it. That's all you get to see. But there is like a whole mountain of other things that go into the YouTube channel that obviously you guys don't even get a glimpse of. And over the past couple months, that has kind of been piling up on me. It has been piling up on me, and I've been doing some incredibly long weeks, and I've been stressing out about all things that aren't recording videos. Recording videos is great fun. That's been going really well, but the other bits and pieces, they've been stressing me out. So, today marks the first day of me having an official employee. The new employee is Vicky. She also happens to be my girlfriend, and she's going to be helping me out with everything that isn't recording a video. So all of the behind the scenes stuff, the editing, everything like that, that is where that helping hand is going to be so that I can focus more on actually producing content, which means that hopefully these videos should get better. And for those of you who are wondering why on earth I flew up to the top of that AFK platform there during that little monologue type thing, I don't know either. I tend to do that sort of stuff when I'm talking. I shoot around all over the place. But anyway, regardless of that, plan number 1 for today's Hermitcraft episode is arguably the most important plan that I could possibly think of. Fix up the storage system. I don't actually know how I'm going to do it just yet, but I'm going to try and work it out. So I think I should probably move all the items that are currently stuck in the storage system into some temporary chests that are going to be out the front here. So this is where they're going to be stored for the time being, and then we're going to try and unclog the entire system by doing this. So get every single item out the back end of it, and then we can try and look for some form of solution, maybe somewhere in which I can power all of these systems, or maybe add in my own little redstone clock that I can activate using a lever. Honestly, I haven't really thought that far ahead. Well, I think I found where all my prismarine's been going. Look at all this! And I've got stacks upon stacks of the stuff in my other chest as well. Oh. I think maybe in the next series of Hermitcraft, I will build a storage system that's entirely in one chunk, so I can't unload it, causing it to break like this. But for the time being, we're going to have to work with this massive thing, because this is how many items we got out of it. Look at this. We got sea lanterns, prismarine pistons, everything. Sponges. My sponges had got stuck back there. That would have been stressful trying to find those. Comparators, redstone bits and bobs. Yeah, lots and lots of good stuff. I thought I was going crazy. I thought I couldn't find my things and I was just losing them. But no, they were just behind all of the chests. Anyway, we now have to come up with a way to actually solve this, which could be more difficult than I was expecting, because torches and redstone clocks. I think I've come up with something though. We are going to power these blocks right here. So we're going to extend this out. We're going to power these blocks right here. And we're going to do that in a clock formation. So that will do all of this. And that will also, we'll have a redstone line which runs out slightly further along like this. And that will allow us to power all of this to give us a redstone clock. That's all good. But then to stop the comparator from intervening, wonderful thing about comparator is that we can actually override it by running a really strong signal strength into the side of it. So we'll just grab a repeater, put full signal strength into the side of that. That will lock it off, stop it from giving a redstone output, which means that we can do this uninterrupted. Yes, I think we've done it. That's the logic. Let's hope that it works. I like to think my solution is now working. There are maybe some items being stuck? It does kind of look that way. The only way that I can think to do this is going to be really expensive and also pretty time consuming to build, but to have 2 separate lines, one of them which runs through this little gap right here with repeaters and everything underneath all the areas that are going to cause issues. I should really cover that up because I can definitely see myself walking into that. But yeah, repeaters running all the way across here, powering all of the comparators, locking them, and then having a separate line, which is going to be the redstone clocks, running out into this. It's the only way. It's the only way I can feasibly think of creating a system that functions. Oh, time for a lot of mining and also a lot of resource gathering. But that's a small price to pay for a fully functioning sorting system, and it does function. I've just run a few tests, and it seems to be working absolutely perfectly. So yeah, I suppose I've got to fly on through and modify the entire thing to fit this new design. Almost there, just repeater, and then redstone dust running up into these comparators here. And that is the full shut-off circuit done for the comparators. So that's just the comparators. So what this will do is it will stop the comparators from detecting items inside the droppers, which will mean that they won't override the redstone clock that we're about to run in, because we don't want 2 redstone clocks running at once at different timings, because that will mess up the whole thing. So that is that all done, and it makes its way all the way around the system. Now it is time to do the slightly bigger task of factoring in the new redstone clocks. Now the main thing that's kind of slowing my progress a little bit is lava, funnily enough. Yeah, you just open up massive areas and there's no way to clog it, and yeah, it's a struggle. Progress is coming along pretty nicely though. We are gradually making our way through. You can see that lovely line of redstone torches. I'm probably about halfway done around about now. I was really excited then because I thought I'd finished and I was about to try it out, but then I realised that actually I'm far from done. There's still a massive connecting line to run through this entire thing. Finally, I think we might be done. Now, are you prepared to hear this thing? Because obviously there's going to be a lot of empty droppers kicking off as soon as I flick this lever. Oh, yeah. Oh man, that is creating some hefty lag too. But there we go. So that's locked it. Perfect. So look, we just saw some items going through. Oh, buddy. That is a noise, isn't it? Thankfully, though, we don't actually have to use it at this point in time, because of course we're going to stay in the chunks, loading them, making sure that all of these items actually reach their locations safe and sound. One thing that I am quickly going to do while this thing does its thing is relight this entire area. I ran into a few creepers and zombies and everything like that seem to be spawning in the nooks and crannies, so I feel like it's probably a good idea to give it a once-over. No! I think I just killed one of my guardians! I think I just killed one of the guardians in there with a creeper explosion. Okay, we should... Oh, I need to light up this spot. Anyway, this next project is going to make a lot of you extremely happy. I'm going to go through every single random chest in my base. Every single one. And I'm going to pick up the items and put them inside my storage system. I can't deal with losing so much stuff anymore. It's driving me insane. I think I am... Well, I've cleared out all the ones, so I've cleared out the ones on this side, I've cleared out all the ones in this side, I've cleared out all the ones down at the aquarium. I've also left some bits and pieces on the floor there. Is there another chest out the back? I feel like there's another chest out the back. There's chests everywhere. I think that's it. I think this could be the final chest. I have all the stuff. We have got a lot of items that have been lying around in the base. I can't think of any other locations where I've left a ton of chests. Yeah, I just spotted those. So now that that's all done, I am waiting on all of the items to flow through the system. This is how many items we have just lying around the outskirts of my base. I mean, I've moved a few of them in, but just look. Yeah, no, I can see why you guys are getting upset about that down in the comment section. Anyway, while these things travel through the system, I'm going to do some AFK fishing mixed in with a little bit of item moving and dropping into the chests. I'll catch you all tomorrow morning. Nice, that has been successful. 64 and 20, and obviously all sorts of different books. You know what? I'm such an idiot. I forgot to clear out the chests from doing the AFK fishing, which means that in that entire thing, we probably didn't get too many books. But the main goal of that was to actually sort out all these items, which they should now be in the sorting system. Hey, I've just popped through into the area. Happy Halloween. To enter, hit the button to the right. Wells. Okay, I suppose... Yeah. Pop down into here. What on earth is going on? Oh, it's just an entrance into the... It's just an entrance. It's just an entrance into the community builds area, which is cool, by the way. Anyway, next plan of action is we're going to head through into the gaming district. Now, this is not somewhere that I've been in a very long time, okay? So, let's take a look. There is Chorus Chaos. Is it Chorus Chaos? I'm fairly certain it's something like that. And then over here, we have got the big top tent, and we also have some bucket game as well. I thought we could start work on a project in this zone, because right now there's not too much going on. Now, my project is actually going to hark back to the days of Hermitcraft Season 3, I believe, when we had the Labyrinth. Now, this thing was awesome. I personally really loved it. A lot of the Hermits loved it as well, and I thought it would be cool to be able to build it. Oh, this is the other game. Is the sheep looking at you? I think that's what that one's called. This one was built by ZF, and it's very cool. Now, one little system that I want this thing to have is to have almost like an hourglass, which counts down using sand dropping into a chest how long the person is taken to actually solve the maze. And then when they get to the bottom, it will shut off the hourglass, giving them a score that they get in this chest right here. And then when they leave the place, it should reset it so that it goes back to normal. So the next person comes along, it will have a fully reset hourglass. Now, I'm trying my best to think of how to do this. It should be really, really simple, but I want to make sure the design is good. So I would say I'm around about halfway done on this thing. We have got the actual dropping mechanism right here. You can hear that we've got a redstone clock running that is a second. It's a second pulse between each one of these ticks. So that means that one piece of sand is going to be dropping into the hoppers each second. And then when they go through the system and they actually manage to finish everything, then this will activate and that will stop the entire thing, meaning that everything freezes inside here. Now we need to set up a little circuit that will lock the items in here until someone presses a reset button, for example this one here, which will empty out all the items until they've run out, send them up to the top, and bring them back around. I'm trying to think how I could make this almost idiot-proof. Not saying that any of the hermits are idiots or anything like that, but I want to make sure that this thing doesn't break. I don't want to have to maintain it. I created a system that resets itself, so once all the items have dropped out the bottom of the chest, it will reset, and that means that that chest is now locked, and it will keep all the items in there. But if you press the button again, then it re-unlocks it and you can't relock it. I think I've done it. I think I've created a system which should be fully and entirely idiot-proof. So right now, there aren't any items in there, so this should actually be retracted. So I've done the opposite of creating it idiot-proof. So right now, there's no items in there, which means that that piston is retracted, which means that if you hit this button, nothing will happen. So if you hit the reset button and there are no items in the chest, then nothing's going to happen right there. But as soon as you put some items in here, okay, that's good. That's good. This piston is now extended, which means that this is locked in here. But when we hit the button, that signal can go through, which means that the items begin leaving the chest. And then when they drop out the bottom, then this will fire across, and also this retracts, which means that now we cannot reset the system when there are items in there. When there aren't items in there. Good! Good, 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 good! Okay, probably a bit big and a bit bulky, but that does the trick. So you run through, you finish, you hit the pressure plate, that shuts off the system, you look at your score, and you're like, oh, it took me 51 seconds to do it, that's cool, and then you hit the button, and that will do that. Yes! That is a win. Now I'm thinking, in terms of locations to build, I would like it to be somewhere around about here. Now, I'm assuming it doesn't look like there's too many plans for this place. And it looks like there's just games kind of dotted around. So I would like to do this really big, really jumbo, essentially. Go full Las Vegas style. But the first thing we have to do is actually create a place that is going to be dropping down into. So time to dig a very big hole. And to do that, we are going to need a beacon. And just to show off, I am going to use emerald blocks. And apparently I've just nailed a challenge. I didn't even know that was a challenge, but I have absolutely nailed it right there. So let's just chuck haste, haste 2, boom. Done and dusted. Right, time for a third-person time-lapse. Let's do this. So in today's time-lapse chat, I've got a few things I want to talk about. Some of them good, some of them bad. The first thing that I want to mention is the causer of a lot of drama in my comment sections on every single social media that I have. On Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, everything. and that is the little Fiat Panda. I mentioned at the start of the previous episode of Hermitcraft that I was looking into swapping out the C63 for a Fiat Panda. It was only later on in the episode that I mentioned that I was going to be getting the Fiat Panda and then a classic sports car. So the Fiat Panda would be like the daily driver, and then I was planning on getting like a classic Alfa Romeo or an old Lancia or something like that to go alongside it. But a lot of people took what I said at the very start, that I was going from the C63 to the Panda as it. And I got blasted on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, everything, which is hilarious. And I test drove the little Panda the other day, and it is great fun. Seriously good fun. I'm a tiny bit too tall for it, so I'm kind of 50-50 as to whether or not I'm going to get one. But if you want a cheap, fun car that weighs less than a ton, then seriously go and test one, because they are honestly, you kind of have to look past the looks. They're funny looking things, and they're not very good looking cars, but they are such a good driving experience. No driver aids, no stability control, no traction control or anything. It's just a light little fun car like they made in the 80s. I would seriously suggest trying one out, but I'm not really in the mood to spend money on cars at the minute because the camper van has just gone in to be fixed. It's getting its rust hole patched up. It also it's making a horrible noise when I get up to certain speeds, so the wheel bearings, they're a bit knackered, and also it seems to have slightly warped front discs. So we're getting all that sorted, but that's going to be back on the road soon, which is all good, which brings me on to the next thing, which I've got a bunch of awesome film projects lined up for the near future with a whole bunch of different people, some car people, some non-car people. We're going to be taking a look at different countries and things like that. So really good stuff, and that's all part of a plan that I will reveal at some point soon, once I start putting some bits and pieces together. And then the final thing that I want to mention, getting away from all that boring stuff, is the fact that new snapshots are coming out, which is very exciting in terms of Minecraft news, but also Windows 10 Edition. Now that I've kind of learnt its quirks, I'm having some fun with it, you know? Like, I'm having fun developing redstone contraptions in it. I've built a really cool redstone contraption, which I'm going to be releasing soon, which I'm happy with, and it's something that I've always wanted to build in Minecraft. So I think you guys are going to like it, and who knows, you might see a few little things trickling out through my YouTube channel over the next couple of months. But there we go, that's pretty much all the updates I can give. Let's pop back onto the Hermitcraft server. And there we go. We have got one giant hole ready for all of the mazes that we're going to be putting in here. Now, for those of you who didn't see Hermitcraft Season 3, the idea is that we have multiple layers. I feel like I might not have mentioned this. I kind of just went straight into building the hole, which is huge, by the way. Like, that is a pretty beefy... I just took out a 32 by 32 area, didn't really plan it, and just mined down until I was like, yep, that's probably big enough. Hadn't thought of actually how big this thing is. But what we're going to do is we're going to have layers. So there's going to be a 32 by 32 layer of maze, and there's probably going to be about 5 layers making their way down, and then the player will drop out and come back up to the top. So this is where we're actually going to be building it. At some point I'm going to have to come up with designs for the actual maze layers themselves, but I've kind of been doing some thinking as to how we can make this a little bit more exciting. So I've done a handful of different redstone related mazes in my time, and I think this would be a cool one to have in there somewhere. So this is one type of invisible maze. So we drop in and we have a set way that we can go. So I can make my way down there, and there we go, we've got a dead end. So you essentially have to walk along and try and work out where you're meant to be going, which is pretty good fun. The other type of invisible maze that you can do is using carpet and fences. I think that would probably be an interesting layer. I've got another maze over here, but that's a little bit redstone intensive. But that's a changing maze. So we've got a changing maze over on this side. Over there we've got another changing maze, which is slightly more advanced. That's the grid system. Yeah, there's lots of things that we can do. Tons of things that we can do here. So I think I'd like to factor in some redstone into some of the layers. So some of them will be completely standard mazes. Others will be fancy bits and pieces like that, where we chuck things in. Maybe even like a lava maze, one that's like deadly, that you have to, you can't touch the sides. you know, then maybe not. That could end up with some problems on the Hermitcraft server. But those are kind of my plans. Those are the ideas at this point in time. And obviously, if you guys come up with some suggestions as well, put them down in the comment section. I'd love to hear them because this labyrinth project is going to be really, really fun to work on. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I've got time for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button. And if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.